I just probably ruined 3 people's shots right there. Check it out, the S26 Ultra just announced, and in this video, I'm giving you a first look at Samsung's 2026 flagship device. So in this video, we're going over everything that's new versus the Galaxy S25 and some of the first impressions that I have on whether or not I think it's worth the upgrade. So let's get into it. Now, here's one of the coolest things I got to try out and arguably the biggest selling feature on the new S26 Ultra, privacy display. This is the world's first pixel level privacy display built into a mobile device. What does that mean? Well, unlike a traditional privacy screen protector, which you may have experienced before, which often reduces screen brightness, clarity, and usually restricts your viewing angles by quite a bit, not to mention all the time, with Samsung's privacy display, it doesn't have these setbacks. I mean, just check out how well this works. You can see with it enabled how quickly it goes from looking like a normal screen to completely blacked out when I turn the display from side to side. You can quickly turn this feature on or off, and even more impressive, it can be applied to just certain sections of your screen to hide only the sensitive parts that you're seeing, whether that's entering a password or getting a notification, or if you want, you can set it to the entire screen for when you're using apps like your banking, photo gallery, or anything else where you definitely want to make sure there are no prying eyes peeking over. And the tech inside is actually pretty wild. The display uses 2 different sets of lights for its pixels, direct and side facing. Privacy mode is disabling the side pixels on the outer parts of the display, and then there's maximum privacy mode, which disables a larger portion of the outer region, further narrowing the effective viewing area of the display. Yes, this is exclusive to the Ultra, but let me know if you need this kind of privacy added to your life. Is it a feature that would make you drop the extra cash on the S26 Ultra over the rest of the S series lineup, or maybe other competing models? Let me know. The Galaxy S26 Ultra continues to be the largest, most feature-packed, and only S Pen supporting model in the S series lineup. It still rocks a very large 6.9-inch QHD Plus dynamic AMOLED display with 2600 nits of peak brightness. However, it now supports 10-bit color and uses ProScaler, which is the same upscaling tech found on Samsung's TVs to make content look even sharper. The Galaxy S26 Ultra is now just 7.9 millimeters thick, down from 8.2, and it weighs 214 grams, which is 4 grams lighter than last year. Now, something interesting that Samsung is doing across the S26 lineup this year is unifying the design. What does that mean? So in addition to having the same colors across all 3 models, we also have the same rounded corners as well. And speaking of colors, this year we have white, sky blue, cobalt violet, and black. Samsung also has 2 online exclusive colors, silver shadow and pink gold. Personally, I'm a huge fan of violet, but comment below which color is your favorite for this year. For the North American market, all 3 S26 models use the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy 2nd generation chip. And specifically for the Ultra, they have redesigned the vapor chamber for better heat dissipation. And Samsung is saying that compared to last year's model, the S26 Ultra will deliver performance improvements of 39% in the NPU, 24% with the GPU, and 19% with the CPU. And given how many of their new features are heavily reliant on AI happening on device, the S26 Ultra should feel much snappier. All 3 models start with 256 gigabytes of storage and come with 12 gigabytes of RAM, while the standard and Plus models max out at 512 gigabytes of storage. The S26 Ultra also is available with a 1 terabyte configuration, which increases its RAM to 16 gigabytes, and that could come in handy if you're a big multitasker. The Ultra sticks with the same 5,000 milliamp hour capacity battery that we saw with last year's model, but it introduces 60-watt wired super fast charging 3.0, which is up from 45 watts from last year, and it also has super fast wireless charging at 25 watts, which is up from 15 watts. But speaking of wireless charging, when I asked the Samsung team if magnets were added to the bodies of this year's models, the answer was no, and that is in order to keep the phone's thinness down. But they did point out that all of their new cases will have magnets built in. So if you're someone who plans on adding a case to their phone anyways, this isn't a big deal, but let me know if you're like me and you would have actually preferred having a slightly thicker phone if that meant having MagSafe and Qi accessories compatible out of the box. All right, now let's talk cameras because there are a few cool updates here that I'm actually excited to test out. Samsung is sticking with the 4-camera setup that we've seen on the Ultra from last year, but they're making some improvements to the aperture, which will mean better low light performance. Samsung says the 200 megapixel main wide is now 47% brighter, and the 50 megapixel ultra wide is 37% brighter. The 50 megapixel 5x10x and the 10 megapixel telephoto 3x appear to be unchanged from last year, but I'm interested to see if the S26 Ultra's improved AI processing will result in noticeably different side-by-side shots compared to last year's model. So I'll have to wait and test that out myself when we get our review units in. Also unchanged, the S26 Ultra shares the same 12 megapixel selfie camera with the rest of the S series lineup, but Samsung is claiming that it will deliver more natural skin tones. Nightography is also getting a boost thanks to its combination of those faster sensors and AI processing, which can recognize noise patterns to deliver cleaner, sharper, and better low light photos. Phone gimbals might become obsolete really soon thanks to a new super steady mode found on the new Galaxy S26 lineup. So in the camera app under stabilization, we have 3 different modes: on, super steady on, and then super steady with horizontal lock on. When I start recording a video, I can rotate the phone as much as I want. I can even go 360 degrees, and look at that, perfectly locked on, and I'll show you what that looks like right now. You couldn't even tell it was spinning, but check this out. We're gonna run with it, and I'm gonna look crazy right now, but let's see how this performs. I just probably ruined 3 people's shots right there. So I'd say that's pretty good, but kind of like I was expecting, especially with other forms of electronic stabilization, it can get a little bit wonky with different lighting. And it's kind of a low light environment in here, so this is gonna make it struggle a little bit more. I'd be really interested to see how this compares to other cameras like the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 or maybe even other action cameras. But let me know what you think. Is this a feature of stabilization? Of course, this wouldn't be a Galaxy update without some new AI features. So let me quickly share some of the most exciting ones that I think you'll actually want to use. First is Now Nudge, which is Samsung's proactive tool found within the keyboard that understands what's happening on screen to anticipate your next move. It seems to function pretty similarly to Google's Magic Queue by providing suggestions based on your current app or conversation without you having to actually ask for help. So it can help surface information that you may have previously viewed when you need it most. Samsung is also introducing automated app actions, which can help handle the more simple steps in apps. You can ask your phone, get me an Uber to the airport, and it'll open the app, do the search, and then take you to the ride selection stage at the very end for you to confirm the pickup. They'll be starting this off with Uber for now, but Samsung says they want to grow this to other services in the future like DoorDash and Instacart. All right, so let's talk pricing and availability. For its base 256 gigabyte configuration, the S26 Ultra costs $1299, which is the same from last year. Now, from my quick hands-on demo today, it's gonna be the privacy display, faster charging, and improved cameras that stand out the most. The new AI features continue to be a nice bonus as it is with each year, but I think if you're someone trying to decide if it's time to get a new phone, it's really gonna be the hardware upgrades that will sway you one way or another. If you're coming from the S25 Ultra, you probably don't need to upgrade here unless you really value those added privacy features and take lots of videos. But if you're coming from a device that's maybe 3 or 4 years old and you're looking for one of the most feature-packed, large-screen Android flagships that you can buy today, this could be it. Along with the rest of the Galaxy S26 series lineup, the Ultra is launching March 11th, my birthday. So make sure you stay subscribed to watch our full review when that drops, and while you're there, hey, wish me a happy birthday. So yeah, that's the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra and all the upgrades compared to the S25. Let me know your thoughts on this device. Are you rocking an S25 and S24? Do you think this is the year that you're ready to make the switch to the S26? Of course, you gotta stay subscribed for our full Galaxy S26 review dropping soon. You can follow me to see what other cool tech I'm reviewing, and until the next one, I'll catch you later.